All right, on to the last part of our lecture, Part C. And in Part C, we're going to learn to convert with the metric system. Milliliters to liters, centimeters to meters, kilometers to centimeters, problems like that. All right, so first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download the another handout that should be posted under this module, which is the metric prefixes. So again, it'd help if you had it in front of you. I'm going to show it to you as I do some problems, but if you have a hard copy, it might be a little easier to see. And this list lists all the metric prefixes that are commonly used. So a metric prefix is basically another way of telling you a number 10 to the something, an exponential number. So some of these you might have heard of before. So like, for example, milli goes along with, it means 10 to the minus 3. Or kilo is the metric prefix that means 10 to the positive 3. Centi is a prefix that means 10 to the minus 2. So we might run across problems once in a while where I ask you to convert, I don't know, kilometers to meters, kilometers to meters. Or I might ask you to go from grams to milligrams. So in a problem like that, you're using the metric prefixes. And so again, it's going to be similar, right? We're going to still get our units to cancel out. But the tricky part is that we're going to have to get used to writing out our own conversion factors. They're not just written as a perfect list that's ready for you to use. You're going to have to be able to write out conversion factors. So that's what I want to first start explaining, and then we'll get into some examples. So before we do any of that, actually, let me remind you of a couple of terms, or tell you a couple of terms. So as I go through this discussion, I'm going to use the term base unit. So base unit are those units that we talked about previously. Meters, little m. G, grams, little g. Oh, my rapper nickname, don't forget that. All right, little g. Capital L, liters. We also have done some problems with time, like seconds. Those are our base units. Now, in this, we're also going to see metric prefixes now. Now, they also have like one-letter abbreviations. So if you see like two letters, the base unit is going to be the second letter. The first letter is the metric prefix if there's two letters. So a metric prefix would be the first letter. All right. So it might be something like capital P. What the heck does capital P? If you see capital PM, that would stand for peta, and then M would be meters. This would be petameters. So if there's two letters, the first letter is the prefix. It could be like, I don't know, DS. What is DS? D is deci, and then the S would be seconds. So the first letter is your prefix. Now, if there's only one letter, that's just the base unit. It's just regular meters or regular grams. But if there's two letters, the first one is the prefix, and the second one is the main unit. All right, so with that little bit of background, let's talk about how you make conversion factors to go from kilometers to meters or grams to milligrams. So to write a metric conversion factor, so we're going to take a few notes here. To write a metric conversion factor, the first thing you're going to do is we're going to write an equal sign. Write an equal sign. Oh, that's easy. You just write equals on a piece of paper, right? And then the second thing you do is you write the, we'll say the metric prefix on one side. and the 10 to the whatever on the other side. And actually, I need to fix something there. You don't just write the metric prefix, you write 1 plus 1 and the metric prefix. 1 and the metric prefix. That'll make more sense when I do an example. And then you write 10 to the whatever on the other side. And then the last step is you write the base unit on both sides. All right, let me read this back and then we're going to do a couple examples. So we're going to have to get used to making up some conversion factors. So the first thing you do is you write an equal sign. I'm sorry, this is a little messy. You write an equal sign. Then you write the 1 and the metric prefix on one side and the 10 to the other on the opposite side. Oh, my pen went away there. All right. And then you write the base unit on both sides. All right, so this is a little messy, I apologize. So let's do the examples, it might make more sense, all right? So I'm gonna erase a little bit because I wanna fit it all on this slide where we have it. So let me erase this little bit of information about what a base unit is and all that, okay? And we'll do some examples here. So let's say I wanted you to go from kilometers to meters. If I wanted you to go from kilometers to meters, you're gonna have to come up with a conversion factor to do that. So the way you come up with your conversion factor is, first off, you write equals. Oops, that's the wrong size pen. Holy cow. What? You write equals. Then you write 1 and the metric prefix on one side. So the metric prefix, kilometers to meters, which one's the metric prefix? The first letter, kilo. So I'm going to write 1K on one side, and I'm going to write what K means on the other side. So K means 10 to the 3. So the letter always goes on one side. The number it means goes on the opposite side. So it's always letter on one side, number on the other. Letter K, its meaning on the other side, 10 to the 3. Now, after you do that, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to write the base unit on both sides. So what's the base unit? Kilometers to meters. The base unit is meters. So you'd write M on both sides. And now you got yourself a conversion factor. 1 kilometer is 10 to the 3 meters. All right. How about if I wanted you to go from grams to milligrams? Well, the way you would do that again, we've got to write our conversion factor. So you're going to write equals. Then you're going to write the letter on one side, 1 and the letter, 1G. And then you're going to write what M means, milli. So the letter goes on one side. The 10 to the whatever is on the other side. So what does milli mean? 10 to the minus 3. Do you see it right there? Milli is 10 to the minus 3. So milli goes on one side. 10 to the minus 3 goes on opposite side. So make sure that's always true. If you mess up, it's because you have got this backwards sometimes. Letter on one side, prefix on one side. 1 milli is 10 to the minus 3. Now, what we're going to do next to finish this, that's a negative 3 there, is we're going to put the base unit on both sides. Grams to milligrams, grams is the base unit. All right. Should look like that. All right, let's see if we can squeeze in one more. What if I wanted you to do this one? Let's say I give you a problem and I want you to go from, let's go from NL, oh, let's do a different color. I want you to go from NL to L. What would that look like? NL to L. What would the conversion factor look like? You write equals, and then you write 1 and the prefix on one side, 1 NL, And what does n stand for again? Oh, n, I don't know, but it's over here. 10 to the minus 9. It's nano. That's what n stands for. So you put the letter on one side, what it means always on the other side. So that's going to be 10 to the minus 9. And then you have to put the base unit on both sides. So it would be capital L liters. It should look like that. All right. We'll see this as we do some actual examples in a minute. So the critical thing I want you to realize is if you write one of these conversion factors correctly, do you notice how the letter and the number it means are always going to end up on opposite sides? Letter, number, letter, number, letter, and number on the opposite side, 10 to the minus or whatever it is, 10 to the whatever. So the way you're going to know if you've goofed this up, which I hope you don't, but it could happen, the way that you'll know if you've goofed it up is if you put both the number and the letter on the same side. If you ever find yourself writing this, 10 to the 3 km is 1m, you've goofed up. These things don't like each other. They're supposed to be on opposite sides of each other. They're supposed to be on opposite sides. So m, the letter, and the 10 to the minus 3 are on opposite sides. If you ever have the letter and the 10 to the whatever next to each other, that is a problem. That is a mistake, all right? They should never be on the same side. Always on opposite sides. Letter, number, letter, number, letter, number, all right? I hope that makes sense. Now, let's do some actual examples, okay? Let me flip over, and let's do some examples where we're actually having to use these conversion factors to get a little math done. All right, so let me go ahead and do that, and we'll do a couple of these. Okay, let's say I wanted you to do this problem for me. 87m is how many pm? All right, let's make sure we know what the heck's going on here. M to pm. By the way, it's little p. You'll notice sometimes there's a capital letter and sometimes there's a lowercase letter, and they're not the same on the chart. All right, so what are we doing here? 87m. So that's just the base unit. That one letter, that's the base unit. 87 meters. So this is meters. And I am trying to get to little p, little m. So little p is pico. It's down here at the bottom. It's pico right there. All right, so capital P, remember, was peta. It's at the top. But little p is pico. So we're trying to go to picometers. All right, so we're going to do all the same work that we've been used to doing, right? You write down the beginning number and unit, 87 meters. You write down the unit you're going to, picometers. In the middle here, we're going to put a conversion factor. The new thing is you got to come up with that conversion factor. You're going to have to make it up. You're going to have to come up with it. So to make it up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off write an equal sign. Then I write the letter on one side, the number it means on the other side. So the 10 to the minus 12 should be on the right-hand side. Oh, by the way, there's a 1 here, right? 1 in the letter. And then you put the base unit on both sides. See how they're split up? The number and the letter, they have to be split up. They are never next to each other. So the base unit goes on both sides. Oh, should look like that. Now we're in business. All right, so with that, it's just like what you're used to. Get those units to cancel till you get the one you want. The one you want is picometers. So the way I'm going to do it again from here should be similar to what you've been hearing about, right? So we would put meters on the bottom to cancel, right? Whatever this unit is, the same unit goes down here. So meters is on the bottom. And then we have to put, well, look at your conversion factor. Wherever you wrote meters, you're going to put 10 to the minus 12. And then the opposite sign goes on top. 1 picometer. Oh, that looks right. That looks fantastic. Okay. Yeah, because meters is going to cancel, right? Meters has got to cancel. And we're left with picometers. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Now, there's only one other little issue I want to tell you about, which you might have a little trouble with is, how do you enter this 10 to the minus 12? You have to type that in your calculator, right? We're going to divide by it. So the way you would enter that on your calculator, 10 to the minus 12, the way you enter this is 1, and then you have to hit your exponent button, which we've talked about, EE or EXP. And then you would enter -12. That's the way you should be entering it. 1 EE -12. Now, if you aren't going to get the answer I'm about to tell you, maybe you're having a calculator mistake, you feel free to talk to me because all these calculators, they can work a little bit different. But if you work it out correctly, 87 times 1 divided by 1 EE minus 12, the correct answer should be this, 8.7 times 10 to the 13. If you are not getting that, you have a problem understanding how to talk to your calculator. You are not communicating to your calculator correctly. You are in a bad relationship with your calculator. So you might need to talk to me to get that relationship worked out. I'll be your counselor, okay? So that's the way it should be. If you're not getting that, you're having a calculator problem. All right. All right, with that, I'm going to show you another one. Let's do another one. Okay, let's flip to another page. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. All right, another example. How about if I wanted you to convert this 12.5 CL. Now that's actually a unit I saw when I was traveling around Europe. I don't never see that in the US, but I've seen it in Europe. CL. What would CL be? C is the prefix. Oh, C stands for centi. So it's 12.5 centiliters. And let's say I wanted you to convert for me to regular liters. So let's go from centiliters to liters. All right. Oh, this is not too bad, right? We're going to do the same thing we've been doing. Get those units to cancel. You just got to make up the conversion factor. That's the new part. That's the hard part. That's the part you got to worry about. So write down your beginning number and unit. 12.5 CL. Write down the unit you're going to. Liters. In the middle, we'll put our conversion factor. Now, this is where we got to do a little work. So first off, what are we going to do first to come up with that conversion factor? Write an equal sign. What are we going to do next? Write the letter on one side, what it means on the other. What it means is 10, if I look at my chart here, 10 to the minus 2 should look like that. Make sure you keep those things separate. Never put them next to each other. That's a disaster if you do, all right? Letter, number, opposite sides, I promise. All right, if you got that, I bet you're going to be okay. You put 1 next to that letter, by the way. And then you put the base unit on both sides. It should look like that. All right, I'm going to give you a chance to think about this a little bit. What would go on the bottom? One CL, and that means that the 10 to the minus 2 has to be on top. 1 CL. All right, so if you work it out again, the way you enter this on your calculator, I want to tell you, because again, a lot of people get messed up on their calculators. 12.5 times, and then how do you enter that? 1 EE negative 2. 1 EE negative 2 is the way you enter that. 12.5 times 1 EE minus 2. If you do it correctly, the right answer, oh, I didn't leave myself enough room. Let me put it here. 0.125 should be your right answer. 0.125 liters. Now, again, if you ain't getting that, you need some counseling. You and your calculator are in a bad relationship. Come talk to the solver of all calculator dilemmas, me. All right, I'll help you out. All right, but that should be the right answer again. Okay, all right, so we're going to do one last one in this video, one last one. You ready to make life a little tougher? Oh, it can get a little tougher. Let's see. Let me show you one more that's slightly more challenging, okay? I'm going to flip to the last slide to do it. All right. Okay. How can this get a little bit more challenging? Well, this is the way. Let's say I wanted you to do this problem. 145 capital M little m is how many capital T little t? Now, why is this a little tougher? Well, let me point out to you, like in the last example, do you remember that you only had one prefix involved? Get do a problem with centiliters. Centi was the only prefix. So if you only have one prefix in the problem, you can do it in one step. But if I give you a problem where there are two prefixes, you're going to have to use two steps. Two steps. All right. Now, why? Because we're going to have to go from M, the prefix capital M, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to need a conversion factor that has to do with capital M and another one that has to do with capital T. So if there's two prefixes, you're going to set up two steps. There's going to be two steps. So let's see what those conversion factors might be looking like. Okay, well, MM, capital M, little m. What the heck is that? The first letter is your prefix. Capital M is mega. So we are going to try to go from mega meters. And then on the other side, it says capital TM. The capital T is your prefix. We're going to try to go to terameters. Terameters. So we're going to need two steps to do it. One is going to be dealing with mega, getting rid of it. And then after we get rid of it, we're going to do another step to get to terameters. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of set it up, right? The setup is, oh my God, we've been doing this for like, forever, right? You write down your beginning number and unit. Leave yourself some room. Now, I know this time there's going to be two steps. So I'm going to write down, then finally, the unit I'm going to, terameters. Two prefixes, two steps. Now we need two conversion factors, all right? So the first one is going to be for mega. All right, so we'll write letter on one side, number it means on the same side? No, opposite side, right? Mega means 10 to the 6. Look at that handout right there. Oh yeah, mega is 10 to the 6. And then you finish it by putting the base unit on both sides. Well, 1 and the base unit, meters that is. Oh, now we got our first conversion factor. All right, now we need another one for tera. Letter on one side. I feel like I'm singing. It's been a long day making these videos. All right, I'm busting out into song because I'm been recording for like 8 hours. All right, so, tera, what the heck, what was tera again? Oh, tera is 10 to the 12. So you put the letter on one side, the number means on the other, 10 to the 12. Does that look right? That looks good, huh? Letter on one side, number on the other. And then you put the base unit on both sides. And then one goes with the letter. Terameter is 10 to the 12 meters. All right, let's see if we can do this. I'm going to go through it a little faster. All right, because it's kind of like after a while you kind of realize it's sort of like a pattern and like a puzzle, okay? So megameters are here. Where do you put megameters to go away? Opposite blank. That means megameters has to go on the bottom. What number goes on the bottom? Look at the conversion factor. 1. All right. And then you put the opposite side on that conversion factor on top. 10 to the 6 meters. So what would you do next? All right, if you stop now, you've gotten to meters, haven't you? That's an M there. It's a little messy. All right, so meters, megameters is canceled. You're in regular plain old meters now. Don't want regular meters. Put meters on the bottom to cancel. So we'll put meters on the bottom. And then you have to put 10 to the, look at this conversion factor right there. Do you see it? You'll put 10 to the 12 on the bottom. And then, what are you going to put on top? 1 terameter. It should look like that. Oh, look how beautiful that is. All the units cancel except for the one I want. All right, so it should work. I think it's going to work. Now, again, I want to tell you the answer. If you aren't getting this on your calculator, you need some marital intervention between you and your calculator. All right. If you are not getting this answer, it's probably like an easy thing to help you with, right? It's not going to be like a 20-minute counseling session, probably a 3-minute counseling session, but you might need to talk to me to get it figured out. If you're typing this incorrectly, 145 times 1EE6 divided by 1EE12. The right answer, if you're doing it correctly, should turn out to be 0.00145. All right, that's what it should look like. All right, so with that, it's 0.000145. All right, so a lot of converting. My God, I'm sorry, it's so much math right now. I promise you we are going to do other things besides math, but we got to work on math for the first few chapters, and then we get to other stuff. All right, so, but for right now, yeah, I know I'm killing you with the calculations. But, hey, the good news is that's it for this lecture. There's only 3 parts to it. So I'm hoping it makes sense. If not, we're going to practice in Zoom. It's not like you're going to watch the lectures and everything's going to be perfect in your mind and you'll be like, oh, this is fantastic. I got it. You probably need to practice it. You're going to practice it in our Zoom sessions. You'll practice it with your homework, and then hopefully you'll have a really good feel for it. All right, so I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon.